Imagine a steel monster the length of 1.5 football fields, weighing more than 1,000 cars, with a spinning face of teeth nearly 30 feet across. Now imagine it buried deep beneath one of the busiest rivers on Earth, chewing through solid rock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This isn't science fiction. Right now, beneath the Hudson River between New York and New Jersey, America is launching one of the most colossal digging machines on the planet to fix a problem more than a century in the making. Stay until the end, because the scale of this thing is almost impossible to believe. To understand why this machine matters, you have to understand the crisis it was built to solve. Every single day, hundreds of thousands of Americans ride the rails between New Jersey and New York City, and almost all of them pass through one ancient bottleneck, a pair of train tunnels beneath the Hudson River. How old are those tunnels? The existing North River Tunnel was built in 1910. 1910. That's older than sliced bread, older than the television. These tunnels were carrying trains before most Americans owned a car. And then came the breaking point. The tunnel sustained significant damage during Hurricane Sandy in 2012. Saltwater flooded in and began quietly eating the century-old infrastructure from the inside. Here's the stakes. This runs along the Northeast Corridor, the busiest passenger rail line in America, hosting more than 2,200 train movements and 800,000 passenger trips every single day. If those old tubes fail, the most important rail artery in the country chokes. America needed a new tunnel, and to build it, they needed something monstrous. The answer is a project so large it almost defies comprehension. It's called the Gateway Program, and specifically the Hudson Tunnel Project. The numbers alone will stop you cold. This is a $16 billion program to replace the aging rail infrastructure under the Hudson River. The commission overseeing it calls Gateway the biggest infrastructure project in the country. The plan is to drill 2 brand new, parallel train tunnels, connecting Secaucus Station in New Jersey to Penn Station in Manhattan, finally giving America's busiest rail corridor the backup it has desperately needed for decades. But here's the catch. You can't just dig a hole under a river and through a mountain of solid rock with shovels and dynamite, not in the middle of one of the densest population centers on Earth. To do this safely, precisely, and without disturbing the millions of people living above, you need a machine, a colossal one. This is the part that breaks your brain. Let me walk you through the actual scale of what's now beneath New Jersey. These are tunnel boring machines, TBMs, and the United States is using 2 of them, twins, to dig the parallel tubes. Each one is a beast. Start with length. Each machine's trailing gantries stretch about 500 feet. 500 feet. That is longer than a 50-story skyscraper laid on its side. A single one of these machines, end to end, is longer than 1.5 football fields. Now the weight. Each machine weighs 1,680 tons. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the weight of more than 1,000 cars, compressed into one machine, crawling through the earth. And the business end, the part that actually eats rock. The cutter head on each machine is 28 feet, 8 inches in diameter. Picture a spinning steel wall nearly 3 stories tall, studded with cutting teeth, grinding forward into the bedrock. This is not equipment. This is a moving underground factory. So how does a machine actually chew through a mountain? The secret is in that massive spinning face. The hard, abrasive rock requires 59 tungsten carbide cutter wheels on each cutter head. Tungsten carbide, one of the hardest materials humans can manufacture. As the head rotates, those wheels press into the rock with crushing force, fracturing it and grinding it away inch by inch. And here's the genius part. It doesn't just dig. It builds the tunnel behind itself as it goes. The two machines bore the parallel tubes while installing the concrete tunnel liner behind them. Dig, line, dig, line. So the tunnel is finished and reinforced almost the moment it's carved. The work is so punishing that the machine literally wears itself down. Mining has to be paused regularly for maintenance, replacing the disc cutters in the cutter head that have been worn down by the digging. Imagine teeth so hard they can grind through bedrock, and the rock grinds them down in return. This is a battle between American engineering and the Earth itself. And it happens, foot by foot, in total darkness, beneath a river. Now here's what separates this from the crude tunnel diggers of the past. This machine isn't just strong, it's smart. More than 1,000 sensors are placed throughout each machine, monitoring the machine's position underground, the wear and tear on key components, the air quality inside the tunnel, and more. 1,000 nerve endings, constantly feeding data back so operators know the precise condition of the machine at every second. And it's piloted with surgical precision. Crews operate the TBM from a control cabin inside, keeping it on target. And the segmented machine can actually make course corrections to its travel path. Think about that. A 500-foot, 1,600-ton machine buried beneath a river that can gently steer itself left or right to stay perfectly on course. It is, in every real sense, a robotic underground vehicle, one that builds a permanent tunnel in its wake. You might assume a machine this powerful tears through the earth like a drill through drywall. It's the opposite. This is a story of relentless patience. Each machine builds approximately 30 feet of new tunnel per day. 30 feet. After all that power, 1,600 tons, 59 carbide cutters, 1,000 sensors, it advances about the length of a school bus in a full day of work. And it never truly rests. The digging runs around the clock, with the crews pausing mainly for that brutal maintenance. Construction of the Palisades portion launched back in August of 2024, and even at 30 feet a day, completing this section of both tubes is expected to take approximately 1 year. That's the staggering truth of mega engineering. The most powerful digging machines ever built still have to fight the planet one school bus length at a time. The mountain does not give up easily. And here's where it gets real, because this is happening right now. These twins weren't built overnight. Each machine is assembled from 96 separate segments, some weighing up to 185 tons each, requiring heavy-duty cranes just to lower them into the launch pit. Now, an important, honest detail. These massive machines are specially made in Germany by a company called Herrenknecht, then shipped across the ocean and rebuilt piece by piece on American soil. The destination is the base of the Palisades. The machines were assembled at the foot of the Palisades in North Bergen, New Jersey, where they'll excavate 2 parallel tubes for roughly 1 mile from the portal at Tonnelle Avenue. And the moment is now. Tunnel boring is scheduled to begin in spring 2026. One reporter captured the symbolism perfectly. The machine was unveiled just days after NASA brought astronauts back from the moon for the first time since the 1970s. America reaching for the moon above and tearing into the bedrock below in the very same week. Now, while this German-built giant does the heavy lifting under the Hudson, there's a parallel story worth knowing. Because an American company is trying to reinvent the entire game. It's called the Boring Company. It builds underground tunnels for transportation, as well as its own tunneling machines, with the goal of reducing traffic by shuttling people through tunnels in electric vehicles. They've already dug systems in Las Vegas, Austin, and Los Angeles. And in late 2025, they took on their hardest challenge yet. They completed acceptance testing of their first hard rock tunnel boring machine before shipping it to Nashville. Because while their earlier tunnels were dug in soft soil, Nashville's geology is extremely hard rock, way harder than it should be. They've even gone global. In February 2025, the company secured a contract to build a 17-kilometer underground loop in Dubai, its first international project, featuring 11 stations. Two visions of the underground future. One, a colossal traditional giant solving a 100-year-old crisis. The other, a scrappy American startup trying to make tunneling so cheap and fast that we dig our way out of traffic forever. Step back and think about what's really happening beneath your feet. For over a century, America's most important rail link hung on by a thread, on tunnels built. When horses still filled the streets, to save it, engineers built machines longer than skyscrapers, heavier than 1,000 cars, smart enough to steer themselves through bedrock, tough enough to grind through solid rock, and patient enough to do it 30 feet at a time for a year in total darkness under a river. We spend so much time looking up at rockets, at skylines, at the future arriving overhead. But some of the most staggering engineering on Earth is happening in the one place we never look: down. The next time you ride a train under a river or drive through a mountain like it's nothing, remember, a colossal steel monster carved that path, one school bus length at a time. And right now, beneath the Hudson, another one is just getting started. So there it is, one of the most colossal digging machines on the planet, longer than 1.5 football fields, weighing 1,600 tons, grinding beneath the Hudson River to replace a tunnel older than your great-grandparents. Now I want to hear from you. Would you take a job operating one of these machines half a mile underground? Or does the thought of being under a river inside a tunnel digger give you chills? And what should we cover next? The world's single largest boring machine ever built, or America's race to dig us out of traffic for good? Drop it in the comments. If this one blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what American engineering does next, because the future isn't only being built up in the sky. It's being carved out beneath your feet.